Peace and power to the true and living. It's CBornNacirfaSun, and I am you. Yo, I have a pretty interesting, profound reflection that I want to share. And this one's actually been on my mind for a while. So I figured it's only right that I make a video and put it out there. You know what I mean? It's been on my mind for a while, and it seems like it's getting heavier and heavier on my mind. And I titled this one, I don't know, I couldn't come up with any. I tried to come up with something better, but I couldn't. So I titled this one, Death by Stupidity. Death by Stupidity. I'm being silly, but I'm being serious at the same time. And this one is really about the church, about religion and the government. You think about these two organizations, these are two pillar organizations of humanity. And I mean, these two organizations pretty much determine the destiny, determine our destiny. You know what I'm saying? They determine the destiny of humanity, religion, and the government. And that's a lot of power that we have given to these organizations. But when we look at history, history would say that we're pretty stupid. I'm being silly, but I'm being serious. That we're pretty stupid for putting, for giving such power to these organizations, based upon everything that has happened. I mean, let's start with Jesus. And the Christian religion is, still the biggest, most powerful religion on this planet. And that's a religion that's, centered around the person of Jesus. And when you look at the history, Jesus did not choose his disciples from church officials or from government officials. He chose his disciples from everyday people. You know what I mean? I mean, granted that there probably were some, people in those high positions that were, admirers of Jesus and things like that. But I mean, his disciples, his everyday road dogs, you know what I mean, day in, day out, were not chosen from the church or from the government. Why is that? And then Jesus when he was alive, he was attacked by the church and the government, and eventually he was killed by the church and the government. So not only did Jesus not take his disciples from the church and the government, eventually the church and the government killed Jesus. They murdered Jesus. And then they lie to you and tell you that God sent Jesus to be murdered so that you can be saved for your sins, which is complete bullshit. But that's not the purpose of this video, so I'm not gonna get into that. But anyways, the church and the government, they murdered Jesus. Why is that? The church and the government has fought against every true messenger of God. And this is just looking at the history, because these are the two organizations that that determine our destiny, because we have given so much power to religion and to the government. We have given all power to religion and the government to determine our destiny. But we're just looking at the history. And history tells us that the church and the government has fought against every true messenger of God. And in many cases have murdered them. In many cases, in most cases. That's what history tells us. You know? And then, I mean, so eventually we have to take a step back and look at why. Why? If these two organizations, which we have given so much power to determine our very destiny, but yet have fought against every true messenger of the Creator, and in many cases have murdered them, and even ended up murdering Jesus, which was the physical person of God, the manifestation of God's love, the Son of God, however you want to look at it. The church and the government even murdered the person of God. I mean, come on. But yet, they have all this power. We have given them all this power. So the question is, do the church and the government act in the favor of humanity, of the people? Does religion and government act in the favor of humanity? I mean, once again, looking at history, and not just looking at history, looking at now, the answer would have to be no. So the question is why? Well, it's a lot deeper than a lot of us are willing to accept, but there's no easy answer to it. But right now, it's very important that we wake up and accept this hard truth so that we can start dealing with it. And the reason why is that from the very beginning, every pillar organization of humanity, such as religion, the church, the government, education, science, money, all those pillar education of humanity were either, from the very beginning, either infiltrated or set up by Lucifer and his disciples. Or you could say it was set up by people under the influence of the Luciferian principles. It doesn't matter how you want to say it. It was set up by Lucifer and his disciples. So the head of all of this, the head of all religious organizations, all government organizations, all these pillar organizations of humanity, the head of all these pillar organizations of humanity is Lucifer. And this is why when you look at the history, from its inception till now, you will see that it has progressively gotten worse for humanity. You know what I mean? This is why Jesus, the person of God, and every other true messenger of God was fought by the government and the church, religion. And in most cases, were also murdered by them. This is because these organizations do not serve God. They're not in place for the benefit and betterment and spiritual advancement of humanity. They're in place for the very opposite. They serve Lucifer. They serve the Luciferian agenda. This is why Jesus did not choose his disciples from government or church officials, because he already saw that these people were corrupt. He already saw that these people were serving the darkness. And this is why they were his enemy. And they knew that he knew that. So they couldn't trick him, they couldn't corrupt him, because they knew that Jesus knew who they really were. And this is the reason why they had to get rid of him, because he was waking people up to who they really were. So that's one of the reasons why they had to get rid of Jesus, and they did. And then they told you that God sent Jesus here to die so he could save you could be saved from your sins, which is complete bullshit. But like I said, that's not the purpose of this video. That's another topic for another day. But looking at everything that's happening in the world right now, and the reason why I titled this Death by Stupidity, is we are still dependent upon the church, religion, and the government to save us. We are still thinking that these organizations are here to serve humanity, are here to save us, are here for the good of humanity. They are not. They are leading us to the slaughter slowly, because if they do it too fast, then you'll wake up and be like, what the fuck is going on? And then everybody will start rebelling, and 7 billion people rebelling at the same time is, you can't stop that. What you gonna do, kill all 7 billion people? You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So it has to happen very slowly, rock you to sleep, and lead you to the slaughter, so you can't be like, oh, hey, what the fuck is going on here? Because you think that they're here to save you, and that they're working for your own good, and you think that there's no way. I was talking to my brother. He was telling me, it just kills me when people think that the government is out to get them. It just kills me. Is what he was telling me. But the shit that's happening in the world is it goes so far back. We're talking about 1 million years ago, and it is so deep. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many layers to this shit. You know what I mean? But like they said, the greatest trick that the devil played on us was making us believe that he doesn't exist. So if you don't think that, your government and your religion and your mainstream science and your educational organizations are really destroying you, then you'll never think to wake up and rebel against that shit. You just accept everything that's coming from these organizations because you trust them so much. You know what I'm saying? The deception runs deep. Even though history tells us, you know what I'm saying? History can't lie. History doesn't lie. It tells us. You know what I'm saying? This is one of the reasons why they suppress history. They change history. Is because history tells us the truth. And the truth is government and religious organizations have, for the most part, destroyed humanity, and even more so today. But that's too much. That's too deep. That's too much for people to accept. You know what I'm saying? You're rocking the fucking boat too much. But it's too late. The boat is being rocked now, and it's going to continue to be rocked. So we have no fucking choice but to wake up, or we could keep our heads in the sand until they come and chop our necks, which they're very close to doing. You know what I mean? And keep believing that there's just no way that the government plots against people, its own people. There's just no way that every single government in the world is being controlled by Lucifer. There's just no way. Well, you keep believing that. But these motherfuckers who are doing this shit, they believe it and they know it. And it works very well for them that you don't believe it and that you don't know it. And this is why they go to such great efforts to discredit, you know what I'm saying, God, to make people not want to believe in God, to make a mockery of God. You know what I'm saying? And this is what they've done with religion and everything else. But anyways, man, this video has gone way longer than I wanted it to go. But my whole thing is death by stupidity, because we're dependent upon the same organizations, the same people that have been destroying us, leading us to the slaughter for thousands of years. We're still dependent upon them to save us. And then we're over here fighting against each other on this black and white, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, all kind of bullshit. Oh, man. So, I mean, we're being led to the slaughter, and it's like we deserve it because we don't want to wake the fuck up and accept the hard truth. And it's crazy that for a lot of us, most of us, we go to church all the time. We've been going to church for all these years, and, you know, to our various religions, and it's been telling us for years that about the devil and how the devil operates, and that the devil, you know what I'm saying, is trying to take over the world and shit like that. But somehow we're living in the very reality of the shit, and we don't want to believe it. It's still some kind of a conspiracy theory. There's just no way, man. There's no way that the government is controlled by the devil. There's no way, man. There's no way that every organization, every pillar organization of humanity is controlled by the devil. There's no way, man. Like I said, you keep believing that shit. And these motherfuckers keep doing what they do. And then history keeps telling you what it's been telling us. You know what I mean? But anyways, man, like I said, this video is going over time, so I got to go ahead and stop it here. With that being said, peace and power to the true and living, the CBornNacirfaSun, and I am you.
Society where people blinded by patriotism, they keep violating while Mia is locked in a fucking beast. I'm wondering, when will the injustice ever cease? In the ghetto, a life is cursed before it's even born. Politicians lie, and the children die. But I'm a soldier that'll slay my enemies with excellence. When I speak, you listen, something like a reverend. Those who side with the devil is dead, cause they can never win. As I pursue the truth, in this life I live, my last breath I sacrifice for my wife and kids. It's God over devils. I know my enemies, not the people I see, not the niggas on the block looking like me. She's my enemy, keeps her hitting